Well, hello guys, it's Jeff from Home Renovision again. Today we've got a kind of a neat treat for you. We're doing a video here today all about the different drywall compounds / muds that are on the market. And the reason we're doing it is because there's a ton of choices. And yeah, there's more choices than I even have assembled here, but I'm trying to drive home the point that when you go to the store, you don't just buy whatever, you don't want to read all the labels. You want to take some advice from a pro who knows what's the best mud for you to use. Okay, so let's go through all the options and then we'll discuss the pitfalls that are in the store. All these muds that are here are made from the same company. Okay, they're all made from the same company and they all have different design functions. They all have a different purpose. So it's not like you're going to the store and you're looking at the grocery store, let's say, and you're looking at soup. There's not 4 or 5 different soup companies all trying to market the fact that they have the best chicken noodle soup on the market. All right, that's not how this is working. This is one company suggesting this solution or this solution, and it's up to you to understand what you need. Because I'm going to guarantee you, when you go to the store, the people that are working there are not going to know how to help you out, okay? So we're going to start off with the one that's at eye level. This is my favorite mud to hate, okay? And I want to tell you why. This is what they call drywall compound. It's not lightweight, it's not all purpose, it's just drywall compound. And this compound here is designed to, how do we say it, finish almost bulletproof. It is almost impossible to sand, okay? Now, every one of these muds has different capacity to be sanded. Some are great and some are horrible. This is the second worst when it comes to sanding, okay? It isn't even a quick set mud. It takes overnight to dry. But if you use this and you put too much mud on your application, even if it's just a tiny patch, you're gonna sand like for an hour to smooth it all out. It'll drive you crazy. You'll throw the pail across the road, screaming and kicking. This stuff will drive you insane. Don't buy it. I don't know why it's made, except that they probably have a really high profit margin because they sell it in smaller pails as well. And if you're a homeowner looking to do a small patch, you might buy into the idea that the small pail is the one that's made for you because, well, it's just a small project. But the truth is, they come in 3 different size pails. Massive, that's the medium, and then a really small one. So don't buy into the trap and buy a $15 a crap that you're gonna just go crazy over. That's a really bad experience if it's your first experience. If you wanna patch a hole in the wall, we'll show you another option coming up soon, all right? It's lower cost and it's easy to sand. Next, they've got this lovely purple product. And every time I see purple, I'm reminded about, our environmental change. And people are trying to market products for people who like to be conscientious about the environment. And this is designed to be conscientious about your working environment. It's designed to be what they're considering dust-free. It's a marketing ploy. You are not gonna get a dust-free finish with that. No matter what you do, you still have to sand. There's aspects of that compound that are still gonna go airborne. Probably about half of what you sand is gonna go airborne. So whether you are cleaning every surface in your house a little bit or cleaning every surface in your house a lot, you still have to clean every surface in your house. This is not a solution to a problem, all right? What it does do is it actually creates a problem. A proper drywall job, when it's all finished, you're sanding it just to change the texture of the drywall, okay, with a sanding paper, so that it comes very smooth, just like the paper on the drywall that doesn't have compound on it. So that when you paint, you get one continuous texture. This stuff has its own texture. It doesn't sand smooth. So then when you prime it, you also have to go back and do another application of another type of mud that is not the one in the purple lid in order to fill up all the little pinholes and puck marks that are showing up in the paint that are driving you crazy. Because the additives in this compound cause things to chunk out and flake out when you're sanding, and that's what drags it all to the ground. It does not do a really good job. Now, if you're looking for a quick fix and you're trying to minimize dust and you just have one little hole to do, maybe this will work for you, but again, that's a lot of mud for a small little fix in a maybe situation. So again, I'm gonna suggest never to buy this product. And just as a side note, if your contractor is going to say, oh, we're going to do all kinds of dustless measures, and they go to bring that mud out, you just tell them to put it away because you don't want to have a crappy job in your house. Thank you very much. Don't you love getting information from someone who's not paid to tell you what to think? Okay, the next information is going to be all the different powders that are out there. Now, we're going to break this down. There are two kinds of drywall tapes that we use primarily. One is fiberglass, okay, and one is paper. Generally speaking, paper tape is for all of the all-purpose pre-mixed drywall lightweight compounds that are on the market, like the box down here. And there are all kinds of advanced machines that commercial drywall tapers use. Guys are doing new houses all day long. They're paid for speed, and they spend good money on really high-tech equipment. As a homeowner, you're not. But it's still my favorite mud because it's the smoothest and it sands the easiest. Now, they make different kinds of mud in these boxes, but the key is to look at the labeling, and it has to say lightweight, all-purpose drywall compound. All those words have to be together in order for you to be comfortable you're getting a good product. Now, depending where you're watching this video, they might sell it in a box, they might sell it in a pail, right? So, don't be freaked out about that. What you're looking for is all-purpose drywall compound. There are lots of companies selling it, so you can go to a lot of different stores and see a lot of different brands recognized, but it's all basically the same thing, okay? All-purpose, lightweight drywall compound, and you are going to be good to go. It works with the paper tape, and you can actually do your entire project with just that one compound. So if you're doing a basement, you don't need to buy a lot of technology. You can just go with one kind of compound and keep your life simple. All right? Because there's a lot of other tools, equipment, and messing up muck and mixing your own mud and everything else that if you're not moving fast enough that your mud has to dry so that you're not standing around waiting for it to dry, then you don't need all this other technology. But if it's a small project and you're trying to get it all done in one day, now we move into the next realm of mix your own compounds and fiberglass mesh tape. The reason we have to use fiberglass mesh tape is because these additives that are in these different products here, it causes the tape to lift off the wall. Now this has an adhesive property, so actually you put this on the drywall before the mud. When the bedding process for paper tape is totally different, and if you're interested in seeing how to do that kind of process, you're going to have to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel right now, because we got a video coming out real soon, going to go through all the DIY first steps and how to do drywall and understanding your tools and the application. It's going to help you out a lot. But for today, we're just going to talk the product selection, okay? You use fiberglass tape, you can apply it on the wall, and then you cover it with one of these other powder compounds. Let's start off with what the numbers mean. Now, we have different products here. We've got a sheetrock 20, we've got a sheetrock 45, which is my favorite, and I use it all the time, which is why it's open. But on the project I'm working on, I'm moving pretty quick, and so I like to use a compound like this on my corner beads and areas like that so that it can set up real quick, get hard, and then I can get a finish coat on it right away. Almost every other application, I'm just using the regular mud. But if you want to move faster, you can move sheetrock 20. And what the 20 refers to is the length of time that you can work with that material. And it's on average. Don't take it for granted. 20 minutes is what that means. So you're going to mix that mud, you're going to put it on your hawk or in your bucket, and for 20 minutes, it's going to be something that you can still tool, and you can apply it and work with it. After that, it starts to get hard really quick, and you're in a lot of trouble. So you have to be careful how much you mix at a time, right? Because you'll end up throwing it in the garbage. It has no other use. So you have a 20 minute, you have a 45, you have a 90 minute, okay? Now, for most people, especially DIYers, I'm gonna recommend the 90-minute mud is a perfect time for you because it will allow you to do a second coat later on in the afternoon on your outside corners. Maybe if you had damaged walls you had to fill up. But if you use the sheetrock 90 to fill all your outside corners and big fill areas, by the end of the day, you know, the last hour, you can go all your outside corners, you can apply your regular compound over top of that. Even if it's not dry, it's safe to use as long as it's got hard, okay? And that's the secret. The other compound out there is the 45, and it's my favorite because I work really quick. So don't worry about it. It's just my personal favorite. Now there's another 90 product out here I want you to be aware of. Let's take a look at this. And it's made by the same company again. And this one's called Durabond 90. Now, it's not the same product as sheetrock 90. You've got to know what you're talking about here. You can't just go to the store and say, yeah, that Jeff guy said I should buy the 90-minute mud and I'm going to buy this, okay? Because this one over here in the white bag, it sands really easily, all right? It's a nice lightweight compound with a hardener, so it sets up fast, but it sands really easily. This one here, all right, it's kind of like Bondo for your car, okay? When it's hard as steel. You aren't sanding that even with a belt sander, I'm telling you right now. This stuff is crazy. I don't really know why they actually made it. I've never really come into a situation in the world of drywall where I needed something to set up and get that hard that fast. It still has a 90-minute work time, but the next day you can come back, you can't shoot a bullet through this thing. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. Now, no, that's not my recommendation for people living in certain neighborhoods to apply this mud to your outside of your walls for protection. The point is, as a homeowner trying to work on your house, if you use this product, you're in deep trouble. Remember, we did a video not too long ago talking about grout, and that there are two kinds of grout being sold in a lot of the box stores. One was a regular unsanded grout, and the other one had an additive so that it would have a sealer, right? But the additive did more than just seal the grout lines. It made it incredibly quick to work with. You had to be super fast to apply it and wash it off and polish all your edges in, or you had a mess to deal with. The same way I warned you about that, I'm warning you about this, okay? Don't buy the Durabond product, because I just can't even for the life of me understand why a homeowner would ever need it. Maybe in some commercial applications you could maybe justify using it, but for the most part, it's just not necessary. All the technology you need for quick drying is in the other three products, and they're all sandable. So just steer clear of that altogether. Now, we also wanted to take a look at my technique for using all-purpose mud, because if it comes in a box or it comes in a pail, they have one thing in common. They're still not ready to be applied to the wall, okay? I know it's pre-mixed, but it's pre-mixed to a certain degree, and it still needs a couple of things done to it before you can use it, or you're gonna have a disastrous result. Your tape is all gonna bubble, you're gonna put on way too much mud, and you're gonna spend way too much sanding, all right? So let's just go, we'll grab the stuff, we'll come back and we'll explain how to mix a big box of mud like this, how to store it, because let's face it, on smaller projects, you might be working out of one pail of mud for a whole week, right? And you've got to know how to preserve the mud so that it doesn't go dry and crusty and wreck your mud. So let's get into this. Now, just one more quick note. I want to make sure you get this clear. The all-purpose, they call it all-purpose. Boy, they're so lying. The compound that's in these pails, even though it's blue, and this is blue, they're not color-coded, they're not related, all right? This is a different mix. It's a different mix than the compound that's in the box. There's a serious attempt here with the marketing that I think drives people crazy, because the smallest pail that's available on the shelf is in this product that's almost impossible to sand. And I think a lot of people have got bad experiences because they bought a small pail for a small project and then had that nightmare experience trying to sand it. If you want to do a small little repair, might I suggest you use this product. Small little bucket, small little repair. This stuff is the stuff you've seen before, maybe on advertisements or on other shows, or maybe even on our channel. It goes on pink, all right, and then it dries white. When it goes white, it's ready for sanding. They come in a different size bucket as well, okay? So if you're just doing a little repair or a touch-up, get this stuff so you can sand it. Don't get this stuff. This is the wrong product for the job. Consider that. It's also a different company. Imagine that. I wish the mud that they put in this pail, for the small pail, was this mud here. Because at least then you'd be getting a product that you could sand and not be frustrated with. I'm not sure why they're doing it, but they are, so you need to be aware. The one other thing I should cover before we move on and show you how to mix mud and store it is the products that come in powder form that you have to add your own water to. You can't mix that in a pail and then store it because it has a hardener in it. It continues to get harder and cure. You will never be able to recycle that. You can't put it in a pail and it starts to get hard. Just add a little water and we'll freshen it up. It doesn't work. Once it starts to go hard, you're done, all right? Get it out of your pail as fast as you can, or just at least push it to one side of the pail and lay it on its side overnight. And then next day you can roll it. It'll just pop right off of the pail because this stuff doesn't really bond to plastic very well, okay? That's your secret. One more quick note when you're at the store. If you're at your local Home Depot and you're buying pails to mix mud, okay? Because this stuff needs to be mixed. If you're buying it in a box, it needs to be mixed. If you buy it in a pail, you can just add water and mix it in the same pail. But for whatever reason, Canadians, we love to have mud in a box. I don't really get it. Don't buy the orange pails from Home Depot to mix your mud in. It is a really soft plastic. And I remember, might have been 10 or 12 years ago, I tried mixing in that pail, and I was working away, and I started to see these little orange flakes in the mud. And I couldn't figure it out for the life of me for about 20 minutes. And then I realized that my mixing blade had a little bit of a scratch. Because it wasn't brand new anymore. And every time it touched the pail, it was peeling off a little bit of the inside of the pail. All right, so what you want to do is you want to use a hardier version. Now, this mud came in a pail when I bought it, and I've been mixing in this pail ever since. And I'm about 7 or 8 boxes in, and it's still working great, and I haven't had a single chunk come out of it yet. Something about the colored pails that are just so soft. The same problem with the Lowe's pails. Use something that's white, okay, and designed for the job. Now, all right, so real quick, I'm just gonna go through the tools that I use. I have a slow mixer. All right, this is designed for mud mixing and thin set mixing and that sort of thing. And it just isn't on. It's made to be really quiet. All right, and you can see that's not mixing 1,000 RPMs, okay? It's nice and slow, and it's designed for that way for a reason. So we're gonna open up our box of mud, and I'm gonna mix it here for you. I don't really need another box of mud right now, but since we're talking about mud today, I have enough pails lying around, I might as well mix this up and show it. Now, there are different people who've got different techniques for doing this. I've heard guys talk about they just flip it over, and they've got some technique that I think they go like this, and they pull it down the sides, and for me, that's always just made a huge mess. And I'm not interested in mastering a technique that's gonna make a hell of a mess until I master it. So, here's my secret. Pull it out, flip it upside down while you hold the bag shut, and you'll see the bag. It's got the corners, they're like handles. So you set it in, you grab those two, and you can just wiggle it out. Now, 75% of the mud is in the pail now, but the bag is still full. So what I do is I come down here, and I just stretch that bag over the edge of the pail. And that gets rid of most of the rest of the mud. But more importantly, it keeps you relatively clean. Now, a box of mud is $20, okay? If you really, really want to, you can squeeze it all out and then, you know, go wash up. But I don't think it's worth the trip. Spend 5 minutes washing up to save 25 cents. Now, I got a whole bucket of mud in there, lots of room to work with. And I use one of these red cups. Wow, I've had this around for a while. Let's go through this. Half a cup plus 1 box of mud is the perfect recipe for mixing mud for your bed application, the first coat. Even the second coat, it works fine, okay? Now, when it comes time to doing your third coat, you've got to add another half a cup. So keep that in mind. I like to make mud for the first and second coat, and then I like to mix a brand new box for my third coats, all my finals, because it's a different concentration. And I don't want to get into math going, well, I think that's about a half left, and you know, you'll always make it too wet, and it's just sloppy and makes a mess. Once you got a formula, it's nice to stick with it. Now, we put that in there, we attach our mixer, hand tighten it, and now for the ASMR. Nice and slow, so you don't make a mess. Nice and deep as well. You don't want to be up here near the top mixing because you'll get stuff flying all over the place. Put your feet on the side and hold it still. And going on that angle, it lifts and drops and lifts and drops, okay? Important to note, have another pail 3/4 full. You can set that in, okay? You can wipe it down and wash it up once in a while as needed, or you can just leave it in the water. It's not gonna hurt anything. So now we're gonna do the Dairy Queen demonstration. Now this is silky smooth, right? Like, silky smooth. Every time I say that, it just reminds me of that stupid movie. Not so stupid, it was kind of funny, but put it in the comment section if you know what movie Silky Smooth is from. Look at this, right? Just making ourselves like a massive ice cream cone, okay? Now, this is an amazing mud. Maybe I had too much on there. All right, that's really good. Great to work with. It holds its shape even if you're holding it sideways, right? Easy to work. And while you're working with your mud, always be flipping it inside like this, right? Mixing the parts that are exposed to the air to the inside so it doesn't dry out and get all chunky. And then when you're done, just lift it off the side, put it back in the pail, all right? Keep your tools clean. And then I want to watch this. At the end of the day, when you're finished, take your knife and clean off the edge, okay? Butter it back and forth if you have to. Make it smooth and flat. Proper maintenance of your mud is really important here. Here we go. Now, you're going to want to have a pail with a sponge. You can buy these in the tile department, all right? Wipe around the top, okay? Wipe around the edges. You don't want to leave mud sitting around the edge, okay? Because that stuff will go crunchy and dry and make a big mess, okay? And then before you cover it up at night, just put a little bit of moisture on the top. And if you don't have a pail, you can just use your hawk, all right? And that way, when you come back in 2 or 3 days, the mud is still gonna be moist. It's not gonna be all dried up on the edge, and you'll be able to use it and tool it and use your knife and not have those hard chunks that fall in from the edge inside your mud that drive you crazy, okay? Wow. All right, guys, well, here we go. If you like getting information that will help you avoid years and years of learning the hard way, give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We've got a lot of great content coming. We're here to help you out. And if you have any other questions about mud, go into the comments section below and ask. Because, you know, there may be something we didn't cover today. I don't know. But anyway, if you are doing a drywall job, of course, you're going to have to learn how to paint that thing. So you can always follow along here, click this link, and we're going to show you our favorite painting secrets to how you can cut corners like a pro. Cheers to next time.